The best podcasts picked fresh for you. This is Podcast Pick on East Coast Radio.
Now, this is where we normally pick a podcast that we're enjoying this week, but I'm still enjoying the same one from last week.
Really?
Yeah, they're...
Why? Okay.
Because they're long, and it's a documentary. So they're an hour long, and there's 7 of them. And I don't really I'll get to listen to 20 minutes at a time.
Okay.
In installments. In actual fact, this drive to Pietermaritzburg and back gave me a lot of time to listen to the witch trials of J.K. Rowling.
And?
Guys, remember last week I told you, it's like, this is a fascinating story because J.K. Rowling is one of the only people to literally, metaphorically burned at the stake.
Yeah.
When her books first came out by a certain segment of our society, and then she said the wrong things about another segment, and then there was the guys. She's had book burnings by 2 separate people who are opposites. And the only thing they have in common is that they've burnt books. Yeah. By J.K. Rowling. Now, I'm on episode 4. They're really unpacking the environment that made this possible. So you must remember, Harry Potter, 20 years old. And when these books came out, people were just beginning to have support groups and that on internet. The World Wide Web was becoming a thing. Social media was really becoming a thing. And it speaks more to J.K. Rowling's experience of the emergence of social media like Tumblr, and the other side of the spectrum, 4chan, where the likes of InfoWars and Alex Jones were grown, and how these 2 different worlds rubbed up against each other, and how each of them was, this is the interesting bit, there's no sides taken here. Each of them equally guilty of burning at the stake heroes who they have brung down through, calling people out. It is a fascinating understanding of the last 20 years of how the social media landscape has been, how it has grown and how it has become this, and how it has become weaponized. And I would recommend this to anyone, The Witch Trials of J.K. Rowling.
So my podcast, I came across this podcast on X, which is formerly known as Twitter. It was just a short clip, and I was like, I need to look into this one. It's called The Good, the Bad, and the Rugby Australia. So, it's by 4 guys. 3 of those guys you know very well. Former Wallabies, Drew Mitchell, Adam Ashley Cooper, and probably one of the greatest Wallabies of all time, Matt Gitto. There's also a guy there named The Professor. And it's everything rugby, but also everything not rugby.
Oh, the good, the bad, and
the rugby. It is fantastic.
Cool. We'll give that a listen.
Does Lil Swoo ring a bell? I heard you were a bit of a performer at school.
I did a battle of the bands.
And you were a rapper.
A rapper.
You're kidding.
He was a rapper.
Because he's a phenomenal shuffle dancer.
Is he?
I can remember I can remember my
shooting
rap
hoops.
My rap partner, J-Mo.
J-Mo and Lil Swoo.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is the Wallabies ex-captain, Michael Hooper.
Yeah.
He used to be a rapper.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, the accent's a bit thick, mate?
Yeah, no,
I'm not sure I can understand them. So do you have the slow down option on podcast?
you can also watch it on podcast on Apple, mate,
Yes,
so it's got subtitles.
Okay, well, our guest podcaster will now pick their podcast.
Hi, my name is Spike Ballantine. I'm a podcast producer in Johannesburg, and my podcast pick is a series called Happened Here, which are all stories of particular places that are told through a narrative. So they look at a particular place and they tell the story of what might have happened there over the centuries. Some of the voices include Joanna Lumley and Stephen Fry and a few other celebrities as well. The episodes are nice and short, or anywhere up to 20 minutes long, and it really is quite an illuminating series of places you've heard about but might not necessarily know the history of. It's called Happened Here, and it's available on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify.
Happened Here. I'll look out for that.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. There's also a frequently asked section which you can send to breakfast@ecr.co.za. And this week's question is someone who's planning to produce their own podcast.
One of the things I get asked a lot about in podcasting is how long should a podcast episode be? And really there's no hard and fast rule about this. One of the most popular podcasts in the world, The Joe Rogan Show, is, on average 3 hours long. And another podcast, one of my favorites, called 50 Things That Made the Modern Economy, those episodes are 10 minutes long. So I think the general rule here is that a podcast should be as long as the content holds. So rather focus on the quality of your content than the length of your episode.
There you have it. So if you want to do your own podcast, now you know.
Bada bing, bada boom.
The best podcasts picked fresh for you. It's Podcast Pick on East Coast Radio. Get your daily dose of news, sports, and laughter. It's your morning.